Welcome back to Datcast. I'm Shades, and I would say, and always, I'm with UK Shady, but UK Shady's currently on assignment, and by assignment...
Hi, hello. Yes, I'm here. Hello. So, when we talk about the tits now,
that is like the best UK Shady impression.
so I was playing this game, and the lady in it has some really good tits. So let's talk about that.
That's pretty much every segue UK Shady. Like, we'll be talking about it, and then she'll be like, I don't understand how that banana is being held up in the vagina. So it's actually and by the way, guys, great segue to the fact that not only is UK Shady not here, she's away on assignment, but this week we have a special guest, and I figure, why not let the guest, do the honors of introducing himself.
Well, hi, hey, howdy, hey, howdily doodly neighbor, how are you doing? So, my name on the internet is TheHatPerson, but my real name is Jorge Varela. I am a Mexican man that lives in the United States that likes to talk about Japanese stuff, so that's as multicultural as I'm gonna get. I am, primarily a YouTuber. I like to make, stuff on YouTube, discussion videos about games that I like, and I do some Let's Plays on a secondary channel. I stream sometimes. But I'm also the editor of a website called thebuttonsmashers.com where I write, news articles and previews, and I write reviews and stuff, So I'm kind of half journalist, half YouTuber, half commentator, half douchebag that says stuff on the internet. And of course, I'm a massive pervert, which is why I'm here.
That is the I couldn't ask for a better intro. Honestly.
Yeah. Except for the fact that I forgot to mention the other reason for why I'm here is that I am also the co-host of an ecchi, pervy content podcast called the Ecchicast. And so you were actually a guest on one of the episodes, which was pretty great.
Yeah, that was all due to a fan that commented on both of our videos, I do believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of brought everything together, yeah.
Yeah, so a big special thanks to that dude who will probably, listen to both episodes and will be like, oh my god, that's so cool. Yeah, so on my channel, on one of my older episodes, yeah, the guy wrote, hey, have you ever listened to that cast? It's like a pervy, ecchi podcast or whatever. And then I went to visit your channel, and then it said, hey, have you ever heard of Ecchicast? I'm like, oh god.
It's great. Hey, great minds, we're coming together.
Yeah, great minds fap alike.
I like that. I like that saying. That should be a shirt. I'm trademarking it too late. It's on a shirt.
Yeah, fantastic. You steal that idea, but behind the scenes, I'm the one giving you all the gold.
Yeah, see, that's what it is, Shady Peeps. You think I'm the one doing it, but I'm merely just the puppet, and there are strings.
All the videos that he has made, I wrote all of them, but I just let him because I'm so nice. He just puts his name on them.
Oh, this is great. I've been wanting to do this podcast for a while. I'm so sorry, by the way, that I've had to put it off for so long. I've been so busy with so many things. I know you guys have been pretty busy on your end as well.
Oh, yeah. We have been very busy because PAX West happened very recently. Mm-hmm. And so, half of our team went out there personally and started covering the show. And so when there was, brand new announcements happening, it was only me and my editor-in-chief, Q, who was supposed to be here in the recording, but he couldn't make it. I was calling him a million times, and he just wouldn't answer. So it's just me now, all alone, without anybody to hold on to whenever I'm scared and cold.
It's okay. If that slight feeling of warmth on your leg, that's me.
Yeah. Yeah, good to know. But hey, at least if you ever have another episode where you need somebody to cover for you, you can have him on next time.
Oh,
but yeah, he was me and him, we were pretty much just handling the entire site because the other dudes were on the field. And then it's like, oh man, we got, news about this, or we got an interview with this guy. And so we're there just typing articles like freaking crazy. There was this one time that we posted 10 articles in a day, and it was insane, just posting trailers and everything. And then on top of that, we got 7 review codes in 2 days. And till this day, I'm still playing through a bunch of games that we have to review. And so the latest one that I'm playing right now is Criminal Girls 2.
Oh, nice. You got a review copy of Criminal Girls 2.
Yeah, and so I've been playing that on my PlayStation TV, and obviously I'm not allowed to say anything about it other than the fact that I'm playing it. And so, yeah, I think on the 22nd, my review will come out for it. Actually, no, there is a preview embargo that we have where we're allowed to talk from the beginning to the game until the end of the first dungeon. And so, based on that little bit that I've played of the game, it's pretty good fun. It's pretty good.
So they actually have, like, not to go too much into it, but they have embargoes on where you're allowed to stop talking about it until a specific point.
Yeah, so usually, the marketing people give you press releases for news and all that kind of stuff. And so when they give you the review code, there's like a set of rules. And it kind of depends on who it is. There are some people that explicitly say, like, do not spoil the ending, or you're not allowed to talk, about this and this and this and that. But usually it's stuff like, if it's a preview, they say, like, the first hour, or like if it's an RPG, is like the first dungeon, you're allowed to talk about it, but nothing beyond that. It's usually pretty, free flowing. They give us a lot of liberties, and they give us very specific dates. Like on this day, on 7 a.m. or on 6 a.m., you are allowed to post your review on video or written, and on this day you can post your preview for that. And it's just paying attention to dates and all that kind of stuff, because then when you break embargo, they look at you funny, and then they don't want to work with you anymore. So it's
Yeah,
like,
they don't
okay,
want to
let's
give you
follow.
any free shit anymore. So.
Yeah, it's like let's follow the rules, especially with these kind of not AAA companies, more like AA companies that put out a lot of really niche products like Criminal Girls and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, let's stay on their good side, because they need all the support they can get.
Because it's funny that, like, I've had, out of the entire time I've done that game, I've had probably 2 companies contact me about sending review codes before the game had come out, and in those 2 times, I'd completely forgotten to reply to them. And so they get back to me and they're like, "Oh, the game's like coming out real. You sure you don't want to, like?" And I was like, "Oh, I've got no time. Like, I'm so sorry. I can't make a video within this X amount of time. Like, it's so different for me. It must be easier for you guys being able to write something up, because for me, it's so much harder to do."
Yeah, I pretty much have my computer and my TV like very close to each other. Like my room is like my recording studio. Like I have instruments, I have a keyboard. Right behind me there's a blue screen that I use for like special effects and stuff. I have lights, like like professional photo lights, and right here in front of me I have a PlayStation 3, a PlayStation 4, I have a Wii, I have a PlayStation TV, and on my desk I have a Vita, I have a 3DS, and a whole another little tiny keyboard. So whenever I need to do anything related to anything, I'm ready. It's all like at arm's reach.
You are glued to the chair. You are glued to the chair.
I have not stood up in years. It's kind of becoming a problem here. And whenever I try, like I struggle, because my butt is actually fusing with my seat through osmosis. And so you need to get like, yeah, you need to get like the heat from like a hot glue gun and just kind of like put it on the edges of my ass, and then just with a little knife just kind of start carving it out. And it actually doesn't hurt.
That sounds like a good weekend to spend with you, I think.
Oh yeah, fantastic. Especially when my family is over here to visit.
Oh, that's great. Well, before I get into the main news, I figure I'll give, because we haven't done a podcast in a while. We've got a few little things. So UK is away at the moment. By this time the podcast goes up, we launched Dat Game socks. I know that sounds really weird to you, Shady Peeps, but we did some Dat Game socks. At this stage, I don't know if we're going to sell them all, but by the time that this is out, you guys will know whether or not we've sold them all. We've got like 9 to go, I think, is like I've last checked. But yeah,
you should totally buy those socks. I saw them on Twitter. They're nice.
You should totally buy them. Desblood Racing. I did a full Dat Game review, and it came with a Shady R shirt that we just did. And we also launched, which you just watched, was the Dat Moment Final Fantasy X2 massage scene, massage minigame.
Precisely. I just saw that video, and I was maybe like 5 minutes into the Desblood Racing one.
Oh yeah, it's seriously, it's murder. I don't know, and you know what's funny too? I couldn't find. The more I looked into, because I did the Desblood review for the DVD, but when I started doing, when I was looking at racing, I was like, why has nobody talked about this at all? Like people glaze over it. Nobody's really done a proper video on it, and the game is actually surprisingly hard to record. It won't let you record it properly. So
yeah. So what software do you use? I'm assuming you're on Windows, right?
Yeah. So I mean, I've got like, I can get anything from Bandicam to Fraps to anything that can capture window, like full screen, anything. And I tried 15 different programs to capture this footage. And I eventually had to piece it together like a puzzle piece because for some weird reason, when the game goes from menu to full screen, like, it's still in full screen, but it changes the format of the game. So I guess, like, the menu is one part of the game, and then the actual game is a separate part of the game altogether.
God, that is so weird. I mean, you say puzzle piece, and I'm just imagining you just like with a bunch of video files just laying down on the floor and going like, no, this boob goes on the right, not on the left. Shit.
Yeah, it was pretty much that, and it was I was streaming for some fans for Patreon to show them how I do the editing process, and they're like, "Why are you doing it like that?" And I was like, "Because I'm guessing that other people have tried to do this and just given up because it seems like this game is impossible to talk about. It's so fucked that nobody, like, you can't talk about it. And I'm going to have to dig this thing up from hell in order to talk about it."
There's just this one guy in the corner, grizzled, with a full beard, drinking a big pint of beer, just saying, "One does not simply record Death Blood Racing. I've been around the block, young man. You don't know all the things I've seen."
Seriously, I felt like somebody was going to come in and say that to me because I got about halfway through it thinking, is this worth it? Like, because it's just so shit. But I was like, I need to tell people. And then someone commented saying, "I played it." And I was like, why did you play it, though? Why did you play it? And, yeah, it really disappointed me. But it's okay. You can still stay a fan. I'm not that mad.
Yeah, it's weird. Not even I knew about Death Blood Racing. And, I've been a fan of Illusion for a long while. And I knew that there was, like a weird fighting game and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know that there was a racing one.
Yeah, it was when I mentioned it to some of my other friends, because I said, "Oh, Des Blood, like, there's like 4 games." They did like another one, which is kind of like related to the first one, Des Blood VR, which has got nothing to do with virtual reality, mind you. And then I was like, "There's this Des Blood racing shit, and I've never been able to get this thing to work, but I'm gonna spend the time to do it." And when I got it working, and I tried to explain it to everyone, they're like, "There's no way that there's an ecchi game that's a racing game." And I was like, there is, and I've got it. I'm playing it right now. It's a thing, and it exists. And
people must know the truth.
I was like, you guys need to know that this fucking game exists, and it's terrible. But yeah, so that review, you guys can go check that out. That one's up. But main news. I know we've been away for a long time. I've had to shuffle this news around like fucking... It's fucking crazy because some of this news is so old now, so I've deleted it off, and I've got some...
Running water has been invented.
Yeah, it's pretty much... Like, I was looking down the thing, and I was like, oh man, Solitaire came out ages ago. Like, shit.
So Shades, have you heard of this brand new invention? I mean, there's this VR stuff and all, that's pretty cool, but have you heard of this thing called the wheel?
Yes, that you can put your dick in it. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, I was thinking more of creating motorized vehicles that will transport you from one place to the other in an easier fashion. But yeah, I guess you could stick a dick in there for that as well.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of the multiple possibilities.
Yeah, sure. Expanding your revenue.
The first thing I wanted to bring up was the Valkyrie Drive Special Edition that was announced.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not super excited about Valkyrie Drive because I've been playing the Japanese version for like a year and a half now. Mm-hmm. So
what did you think of it personally?
Well, I mean, I've played it for a while. I think I'm like 2 levels away from actually seeing the credits roll on that game. Okay. And, man, I feel weird because I feel like it's kind of unfair to compare it to Senran Kagura because when I was playing it, that was all I can think about. I'm like, man, it's not as fast as Senran Kagura. It's not as well optimized as Senran Kagura. The frame rate is worse than Senran Kagura. The characters aren't as cool as Senran Kagura. And I think that's not fair. We should talk more about what the game is rather than about what the game isn't,
So is this version, because is there one before this one? Because the one that I'm thinking of is the Bihi Kuni one.
Yeah, so actually Valkyrie Drive is a project that has 3 different things. So the first thing is Valkyrie Drive Mermaid, which is a 12-episode anime. Okay. Which, in my personal opinion, even though it was full of really good fan service, it was not particularly good. And then the second one was Valkyrie Drive Bikuni, and that's the PS Vita brawler game. Mm-hmm. And that's the one that I'm talking about right now. Yeah. And so the third one was like a Japan-only iOS title. Like I think it was Valkyrie Drive Siren.
That's right. I heard about Siren. I didn't really look too much into it.
Yeah, and so they all have a different cast of characters, but the thing is that it's supposed to be focused around, the normal, regular, kind of modern-ish world where everybody's living a normal life, but then there are women that have a certain virus where if they're stimulated enough, and by stimulated I mean they come, they transform into weapons. And so the government is like, oh, well, they can transform into weapons. That's dangerous. We got to, keep them isolated somewhere. And so these girls get taken and pretty much they're just left for dead over there on those islands. And so all of the islands are named Bikuni. There's another island named Siren. There's another island named Mermaid. And so that's why they all have different names, because those are the stories of all the different islands.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. Because I knew about the anime and I knew the story. I didn't realize that they were all named after the different islands. That's actually quite interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And so all of the characters, very similar to Samurai Kagura because it was made by pretty much the same people. They all have their own story. They all have their own reasons to be there. Obviously, I don't know too much about it because I have the Japanese version and I couldn't really read it. So I kind of just skipped to the gameplay. And it's interesting. It's not as frantic and manic as Samurai Kagura. It's definitely not as fast. You have, one character. You only play as one character, but then technically you have a second character because your second character is like your weapon.
Okay.
So whenever you transform, when you press the L button, you go in through the sequence where you're kind of doing stuff with your partner girl. And there are different levels. So level 1 is like, you just like grab one boob and that's fine. And then you transform into a sword. But then there's another one like level 2 where you're hugging and it's a much bigger, badder sword. And obviously the ultimate maximum level is when you're just flat out kissing and their clothes just explode out of their bodies. And they turn into like this big, massive, giant weapon. And so everybody's a different weapon. One will be a gun, another one will be a sword, another one will be another sword, another one will be another sword. And so most of them are swords, but the animations and everything, they're pretty cool.
And you're saying like the combat's a little bit slower than Senran?
Yeah, definitely. So you have your typical square button, and then you have the triangle button, and you combine those to make different combos, right? And so you have maybe like a handful of enemies per room, because in Samurai Kagura, you have like 100 people fighting you all at once, right?
Yeah.
And so here it's only maybe like 5 or 6, and every single enemy has like its own like weird flashy introduction, which is a little like intrusive and kind of annoying. But they all have certain tricks, and so most of them are kind of in the air. And so a special thing that you have, how in Samurai Kagura you have the aerial rave, where you send them flying, you can kind of just jump and fly over there to them and do a combo. Yep. Well, similar to that, here you have to hold down a button. And so after you do press when you press triangle, I think, to send them flying, you need to hold down a button, and then there's like this little ring that focuses on you, and you have to time it, and then you release the button and you go flying. And that's where you do the combo, and again, hold on the button, release it at the right time, and just kind of do this little juggle in the air, which is a little bit more focused. You need to be more concentrated for that rather than just tapping circle to do the aerial rave in Samurai Kagura.
Okay. Yeah, because I've been wanting to get into it, and I know that it'd been out for I didn't realize it'd been out for that long over in Japan.
Yeah, you definitely have to play it to believe it. You'll know what I mean when you definitely get your hands on it. I've pretty much been playing it exclusively on PlayStation TV. I've barely ever played it on Vita, but it runs pretty well on both. And of course, the fan service is pretty good, and there's no room for lollies here or anything. You don't have your Mirai, you don't have your Kafuru or anything like that. Here is no Ryobis or anything like that. It's only like a handful of girls. It's like 7 or 8 girls, and then the 2 main girls from the anime from Valkyrie Drive Mermaid, they actually make it in there as DLC, so that's a little bit more girls, but is definitely a very small amount, but they're all fairly special. A lot of the same voice actors make it into this game as well.
And so with being on the Vita, you can obviously, you were saying you can play it on the PlayStation TV, right?
Yes.
Okay, so tell me, for somebody that doesn't really know too much about PlayStation TV, exactly how does that work?
So basically, a PlayStation TV is a little black box. Think about like an Apple TV, just a small little thing that is basically a Vita without the screen.
Okay.
So back when it came out for maybe $100. At least here in America, it came out for $100, and it was on that selling point of you can play Vita games, and not just Vita games, but your PlayStation 1 games and your PSP games, all of them on your television, and you can sync them up with your PlayStation 3 or PlayStation 4 controllers that you already have. So just plug it in, and you're good to go. Mm-hmm. And so that was a pretty good selling point to me, especially for me as a YouTuber. I like to record footage of my games. So I'm like, okay, instead of having to buy another Vita that has a capture card in it, which costs like $400 or whatever, I can just get this $100 little box, and I can, just record it off of HDMI. And to me, that was great.
Wow, that's actually really convenient. I'm probably gonna pick up the special edition now, just because I want to actually get a PlayStation TV and actually do that now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It didn't really sell all that well because it was like a niche within a niche, because at least here in America, and I think in Australia as well, the Vita doesn't really sell all that well, despite the fact that I just saw a sales chart recently that the Vita was number 3 in total hardware and software sales in Japan. Yeah. So yeah, in terms of hardware, it was number 3. And then, like, the top 20 most sold games of this past month, like, half of them were Vita games. And so the Vita's doing pretty well just in Japan and not really everywhere else. And so when you have this thing that is, like, even less of a Vita that you can play on your television, that even, regardless of how cheap it was, it didn't really sell all that well. And people don't believe me when I say that I use my Vita TV or my PlayStation TV, whatever, every day. Daily. Like, I'm playing Criminal Girls on that. I'm playing Attack on Titan on that. I'm playing, Arcana Heart on that. I'm just playing Blaze Blue. I'm playing so many games on Vita because I just love the platform. I love being able to take essentially these PS3, PS4 level games everywhere I go, on my Vita.
I think you just sold me on it.
Yeah. And so if you don't, one thing that I like to do a lot is because, I'm Mexican and I live in San Diego, California. And so the border is pretty close to me. And so usually at the end of the month, I like to travel and go and visit my family. And so what I would do before I had a PlayStation Vita or a PlayStation TV was to take my PlayStation 3 and carry the big thing on like this big bag and carry it from one place to the other. And I'm like, I'm so tired of getting this big giant box and moving it around everywhere. And then I got my PS TV, which, by the way, I have 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
Because after the PlayStation TV did not take off in the way that people were expecting it to, the price drops have been enormous. Like, I found a PlayStation TV at a Target for like $40.
Wow.
And that was without the coupon that I had for it. So
that's crazy.
That was yeah, so that was even cheaper than that. And so that second PS TV that I bought, that's for my Japanese account. And so I have one from my American account, and I have another one from my Japanese account. And so usually I bring the American one everywhere I go, everywhere I travel. Like every hotel, every house has a TV with an HDMI connection. So you just need an HDMI, plug it into the power, and a controller. It could be a PlayStation 3 controller. It doesn't even have to be like a super advanced like PS4 controller. And so you can play anything on it. And even games that have touch controls on it, you can like press L3 and R3. And it shows you like a little finger cursor, and you can, do like touchscreen stuff on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, of course, there are some games that don't work on it because they have they require like the Vita gyroscope motion controls, like Gravity Rush. You can't play on that. Like the Uncharted game, you can't play on that. A lot of the launch stuff you can't really play, but a lot of the more recent stuff, like a lot of indie stuff, a lot of the more modern games, like Attack on Titan, Criminal Girls, all the ones that I've been playing, pretty much. The huge majority of them are fully compatible and playable on Vita. I played like the Hatsune Miku games on there. I played the IAVT Colorful game on there. And of course, if you want to play PlayStation 1 games like me, who I never grew up with a PlayStation 1, and I've accumulated so many PlayStation 1 games over time with my, dedication with the PlayStation Network store and all that, then you have Chrono Trigger, you have all the Final Fantasies, you have Crash Bandicoot, you have so many games to play on there, and your PSP games. You can play Persona 3 on there, Loco Roco, so many. There's a ton of games that you can play for just $100. And if you have a PS4, you can do remote play on it, on your PS TV, so you don't even have to move your PS4 anywhere. You just need a good Wi-Fi connection. It's all good.
I think when I go to Japan, I have to get one of these.
You gotta. It's pretty good.
Definitely. Because it sounds like something I need, especially for travel.
Yeah, and so I like to use it a lot for recording footage. Like my entire Persona 4 Golden Let's Play, where I did like a calendar run of it. Yeah, all of that was recorded on a PlayStation TV, and it
Yeah.
worked perfectly fine. Now there is some HDCP protection on it, so you have to actually connect the HDMI to a splitter, and then from the
Yep.
splitter to the capture card, and to the capture card to the TV. It's like I have this whole like big like tentacle hentai octopus of wires. I have just wires everywhere.
I know
And
those
so
feels.
yeah, and so I'm just there like following one wire to the other. Oh, this one goes here, this one goes there, and there we go. Like I have a pristine, perfect setup right here after a lot of work. But yeah, like it works pretty goddamn well, and I have two of them. And so whenever I want to go into the Japanese store, which is obviously full of Japanese games and a bunch of stuff I want to get, usually a lot of the demos that I get for Let's Plays and stuff, I get them off of like the Vita Japanese store. I played like Dragon Quest Builders on that. I played Dragon Quest Heroes, any like stupid like The Legend of Heroes, Trials in the Sky 3, like all of that. I got that all from the Japanese Vita store, which I play on my PlayStation TV. And it's pretty cheap now, so you're not really losing out on anything if it ends up sucking for you.
Exactly. More news on I don't again, this could be, it's fairly old now. Yandere Simulator's now got its own official website.
Oh, really? Really? It took them a long time. Yeah, I kind of assumed that they already have one.
It just literally is this. It's just yanderesimulator.com, but they finally have a proper website.
I would rather not click on the link. This game disturbs me. I'm actually, you know me, Shades. I am very open-minded about pretty much everything. I'm pretty much open to sexuality and, all of that kind of stuff. I love girls of all shapes, sizes, and flavors. I don't
yeah.
discriminate. I don't discriminate for shit. But if there's one thing that I'm just not, I'm a little bit squeamish towards is the yandere character
Really?
type. Just seeing a girl with a knife and then with a smile on her face, I'm like, okay, I don't want to see.
No, but see, everybody's got that thing. Everybody's got that one thing that they can't do. See, for me, and everybody keeps trying to make me do it, makes me talk about it, is vor.
Girls in chicken suits.
That too. But I mean, look, I'll get over that eventually. I mean, I like eating chicken and I like eating girls. So, I mean, not like fully eating them. I just mean certain parts of them. So I'm just saying, like, if I put the two together, I might be able to overcome my fear.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. But yeah, so for anybody that's interested, I'll put up on the screen anyway for YouTube people. Yandere Simulator's got a website now. It just has general stuff like the actual character breakdown. They've just recently started putting in like full-on relationship building. So the guy's really working on it like crazy. His work schedule actually impresses me more than the game does, because he dates updates to happen every couple of weeks, and he'll update people with something. There's always something new in the game, so I'm kind of looking forward to seeing a finished product eventually. But it's nice to see like somebody, a developer that's, I don't know, kind of more switched on to listening to fans and listening to people, especially in this particular market of games.
Yeah, isn't it ironic that it's always like the single man developers that always end up doing more work or end up being loved more than like the big giant companies that have like Assassin's Creed as like 400 people working on the game, and they're like
Exactly.
very quiet and they never say anything, and then the results are inconsistent. But then one day you're like, oh, there's this one little guy that made a game called Undertale, and turns out is one of the best games I've ever played in my entire life. And then, oh, here's this other one guy that made just a little curious little indie game called Minecraft. Oh, maybe it'll go places, but I don't know.
That was just really funny for me, because I felt this, like, at first with Undertale, I was like, come on, guys, really? And then, like, I played it, and I was like, this is actually really fucking good. Like, it's really good.
Yeah, precisely. You had like the whole thing with like the morality system, right? With like the genocide run and the pacifist run. And I saw Let's Plays of people playing that. And it's like everybody was being like a good guy. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be a bad guy just to see what happens, because everybody else was being good. And I regret that. Holy
yeah.
man, dude. The genocide, like, it's an emotional roller coaster. But then I felt way better when I played it as a good guy. Like, that's definitely a game that people have to play on their own.
Exactly. I love
Made by one guy! Made by one man!
Exactly. So developers out there, listen. You gotta look. I want you to take something like, and I don't know how everybody feels about this listening to the podcast. Games like No Man's Sky, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to look at that, and I'm not saying that the game is completely crap. I'm just saying that the PR was wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I reviewed No Man's Sky on the site actually, and I gave a very neutral opinion about it. I enjoyed it,
Yeah.
but there were a ton of problems that I had with it, and so maybe it wasn't communicated properly what the game would actually end up being, and so that created this whole shitstorm on the internet.
Because I heard about something recently where they spoke to there was somebody at Sony that they spoke to about it, and they asked whether or not it affected sales, and then he said, "Oh, we don't feel like it will damage anything. If anything, we were happy with the sales. We were happy with what it did. But the problem was when he was going out there talking about the game, he didn't have PR. Like he had no PR to tell him like shut up and don't say stuff that isn't in your game. And I think nodding and saying yes to everything is probably what everybody wants to hear.
Yeah, and it was fairly funny to hear that because I remember because I'm a really big fan of a website called Giant Bomb,
Oh
and
yeah.
so yeah, on their YouTube channel a long time ago they released a little interview with Sean Murray, and so he was being asked the question of about that about the fan base, people being speculative and the hype and all that, and then Sean Murray said, well, it is very weird to talk about stuff in the game that we haven't actually put in there yet. So he's like, wait, what? And so, yeah, and so he literally said, we're touting all these features and all these things that we're working on, but we can't show them because we actually haven't made them yet. And I'm like, so maybe you shouldn't say them until they're actually done, but
Though, speaking of games particularly made with fewer people as possible, and some games that, a lot of indie games coming out now that are becoming very good, and talking about recently, Kimochi partnered up with Nutaku to make a Steam-like client for adult games and visual novels. And I'm glad they picked up Kimochi because Kimochi they were pretty much going to give up on it. And I was there kind of when Kimochi sort of launched. And I'd already talked about Nutaku on the show, so it was interesting to see that Nutaku stepped in and said, we want this platform. We know that people want a platform for it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good. I mean, people tend to go to weird, sleazy, ad-written sites for, hentai games and stuff like that. And, it's a fairly, niche kind of a thing that's kind of kept on the down low for the most part, right? So it's kind of difficult to kind of search for that. And so if you have this one platform that's, as you say, is like Steam for hentai games or whatever, then yeah, it's pretty good. I actually downloaded the launcher for that on my computer, and it won't launch. I made an account, I installed it and everything, and I click launch, and nothing happens. But I'll be sure to visit it one of these days and see what's up.
I had it when it was just Kimochi, and it worked fine. But when I was downloading games, not all the games worked, and I just assumed that there wasn't much. They weren't doing much. Damage to fixing it up or anything, but I assume that over time they're going to try to, I don't know, make it work. I mean, for the games that they've got on there, I'm kind of happy to. I mean, the problem is games like Breeding Season, which is now completely gone now, which is really sad. But I mean, that's one of the big powerhouse games that was on there.
Yeah, and they're definitely gonna have a good thing going when they start, giving support to maybe some Japan exclusive things that you wouldn't be able to get over here. Yeah, so if they get a connection with Tea Time or Illusion or Neko Works or something like that, and on top of that, maybe bringing some VR stuff in there as well. That might be some pretty good. Just have a platform for those to be available. That'll definitely make them go a long, long way. But for now, with the luck that I've been having, I think I would have better luck just going on Google and searching for Flash animated parodies of Nintendo characters doing it. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever? By the way, I hate to distract from the show, but man, you go on the internet and you have Princess Peach Flash animation number 7 or something, or My Little Pony or whatever kind of stuff. But I remember one that I like going back to quite a lot. I actually have a bookmark. Shh, don't tell anyone, it's a secret. But it's called Super it's called super blowjob or something like that. And so what it is that it's kind of a flash animation where you move your mouse left and right, and it's a girl giving a guy a blowjob, but then you can customize it to make it look like different characters.
Yeah, it's called Super Deep Throat.
There we go. That's the one that I'm talking about.
The modding community for that is absolutely amazing.
And I love them for it.
The fact that you can just make anyone in that game is just insane. Like, I don't understand how they've done it. It's amazing.
Yeah, and so there's some templates on it for it. So you can do like Princess Peach, you can do like Jill Valentine, you can do just the typical characters you would expect, like Zelda and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you can like actually like insert some code into it or whatever, and then hey, you have Amy Rose or whatever, or Bick the Cat.
Exactly. Whatever takes your fancy, this game can do it.
Whatever floats your boat, as long as you like blowjobs.
Exact. Because I mean, if you don't like blowjobs, then I mean,
you're just a monster. You're just you don't.
You're not fun.
You don't love your country.
You don't love your country. Speaking of like, good, I don't know if this is a good segue, but speaking of loving my country at the moment, because I'm really happy about this. Galgun is coming to Steam.
That is pretty fantastic. Again, another game that I very recently reviewed on the site. I was pretty positive towards it.
Is it quite okay? Because this is what I wanted to get. Because I was talking to there's a guy that does he does long plays on YouTube about certain games, and I was talking to him about Galgun. Is the game repetitive at all, or is it just a standard?
Yes, I mean it's an on-rail shooter, so inevitably it will be.
Okay.
But I think the power of the game lies more on its story, because even though that is pretty simple and very by the books, you have a lot of stereotypes in there, but I think the characters are endearing enough, and they don't take themselves seriously in any way. Like, all of it is just very lighthearted comedy. And so you have all of these, different girls that you can choose, and you have all of these different decisions based on your stats. You have like the pervy answer, you have the smart answer, the athletic jock answer, or the regular normal answer, and all of those give you slightly different results. And so all of it is with the purpose of being able to conquer this one girl. But then there's also there's only like 6 levels in the game. It's a very short game.
Really?
But that's only for one route for one girl.
Oh,
and then there's also different branches. So there could be one level, like level 3 has like 4 different rooms. You have like the gym, or like the first year's room, or the locker room, or the pool, stuff like that. And so you can only choose one, and you keep going with your playthrough. So what you can do is that you can go back to the beginning, choose a different route for a different girl, and then when that branches out, you can choose a different room. So like technically it's a little bit repetitive, but there are different branches that you can take. And all of that is with the purpose of being able to, talk with a girl more and conquer her and all that kind of stuff, and go to their shop and try different things. There are different character profiles that you have. There's one that's like hentai fiend, and so all your stats is like 100%, lewd, and everything else is like 0 or something like that. And so you can kind of play around with that, which give you different dialogue choices and stuff like that.
I'll be interested to see if Steam censors it in any way, because they've been quite lenient with censorship as of recent.
Yeah, they have a lot of. I mean, Honey Pop is on Steam, so you know.
Yeah, and they've been kind of backing off on a few other titles as well. So I was kind of blown away that a game like Galgun hit Steam, because it just sort of came out of nowhere, and I was just about to purchase it on the PS Store, and I was thinking, well, now I can stream it properly on my PC, in front of all the Shady peeps and everything. So
yeah, no, really I say you should get it on Steam for sure, because then I'm sure there's going to be like a modding community for it and all that kind of stuff. And as far as ecchi games go, this one is pretty tame. This one really isn't that bad.
No, I mean you look at games like Criminal Girls, obviously, and they're a little bit more pushed forward, if you know what I mean. They're a little bit more suggestive than, you can tell that they're trying to be a little bit more naughty than, obviously.
Yeah, and that one does have its own degree of censoring.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, and so I'm not surprised that Galgun made it onto Steam. I think shooting all those little girls with the mouse is a lot better than just moving the analog stick. I was saying like if you're gonna put this game out on PlayStation 4 and stuff, you need to have like the PlayStation Move controllers to be able to move it like it's a shooter, right?
Exactly.
Like when you're playing House of the Dead at an arcade or something, but instead of zombies, it's really cute girls. Yeah, and then now that the PlayStation VR thing is going to be released fairly soon, why not just slap a VR headset onto it and then move around and like it's an actual on-rail shooter. You're shooting like that Until Dawn game.
Well, and I do love, especially the House of the Dead style like on-rail shooters as well. I really like.
Oh my
those.
god! I just thought of something. Typing of the Dead Galgun edition. Gal typing.
So you're saying we should mix the two together?
Yeah, I mean, you should, instead of shooting girls with the pheromone gun, it should be you typing, like Typing of the Dead.
That's brilliant.
I love Typing of the Dead. I love Typing of the Dead Overkill, and so I think we should
They're
have
ridiculously great. It's such a ridiculous game, but it's great.
Yeah, and then like they make you type like super weird sentences and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and then I remember for Typing of the Dead Overkill, you could download like different languages. Okay, so you can have English from England, like England English, or you could have USA English, different kind of accents, different kinds of dialects, and then different dictionaries where they could get different words and all that kind of stuff, or like gamer dictionary that will have a bunch of gamer lingo, or sports talk, and it would just be really really fun. And I think Galgun, if they're not gonna do like motion control like PlayStation Move kind of stuff, and if they're not gonna do VR, and it's gonna be on Steam on computers, there should be at least a mod out there that can have it be like typing.
That's right. So Galgun team, your move. We've made our move. It's time for your move. Get the typing shit on there. Though I don't know how I'm going to type with one hand anyway, but anyway.
Give us a nude mod as well.
Two other games that kind of struck me up this week one was Schoolgirl Zombie Hunters.
Oh yeah, I remember. That's supposed to be like an Onichambara universe game, right?
Yeah, and they showed off a little bit of footage at the Tokyo Game Show. Not too much. It was just basically like just the 5 main characters, basically just surviving in like a hellish zombie school style environment.
That is a pretty unoriginal title, though. Like high school girl zombie.
To be honest, it's so lame. It's really lame.
Yeah. If there's one thing that I can point out immediately about the game that I don't like, it's just that freaking name. Could you imagine if Senran Kagura was named Ninja Girls or something like that?
Exactly. That's
just describing what the game is to me is not enough.
Well, that was like that game that came out a while ago, and I think I might have mentioned it on one of the first podcasts. Was like something like it was Girl Fight. There was like a game called like Girl Fight or something for the PlayStation, and I saw it and it looked great, but I was like, what is with the name? Like, you could have picked something a little bit better, like.
Yes, so yeah, the game is literally Girl Fight, and I have played that game before. It kind of sort of sucks.
Oh my god.
It's like it's trying to be Dead or Alive, but it fails on every single account. I mean, the girls are good looking, but that's pretty much all it has. I'd rather see an album of screenshots of that game rather than actually playing it.
See, that's why I'm kind of worried about this Schoolgirl Zombie Hunter, because with a lame name like that, little parts of me think that this could just be like, I mean, especially with the trailer that they just dropped too, there really isn't, like, if there is gameplay in there, I can't see it. There's just sort of stuff that happens. So I'm kind of confused because it takes place in the world of Wanchanbara.
Yeah.
But
so what do you think of those games? Have you played those?
Yeah. So the very first one, and it took me a while to get a copy of it. The first one I found was a little bit repetitive. Like the sexiness was definitely there, but it was definitely sort of in the vein of how I felt Lollipop Chainsaw was you fight a bunch of bad guys, you move to the next area, you fight a bunch of bad guys, and each area gets sealed off as you go. But the new one the Z one, that one looked really good. I've got it. I've not played it yet. It's on my pile of games, but I mean, it looked good.
Yes, it does definitely look good. I have played all those games. So I remember I played the original, the Onichambara zombie whatever. I played it on the Wii. the my first time around, and that one was kind of subpar. I mean, I have never had any problem with the etchy aspects of any of these games.
No.
I mean, but pervert wise, I mean, it's pretty good for me. I like looking at that game quite a bit. But as an actual video game with gameplay where I push buttons and stuff happens, I kind of liked it to a much lesser degree. I think Lollipop Chainsaw is way, 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 way better than Onichambara, not just from gameplay, but also like as a story and as a piece of symbolism and all that, the fact that all of these zombies are looking at this one girl as a piece of meat, and you have all of these other bosses that are just like repressed emotions and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of stuff that you can nitpick from that game that are actually way deeper than it comes across. But yeah,
but
I
when
like
you compare
Lollipop.
the two together, like, I mean, there's no contest, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. And so I remember Onichambara Z, this newer one. I remember that one being way better, but still being more of the same. It definitely looked nicer, but it was same kind of like button mashy. It's no Senran Kagura is what I'm trying to say.
See, that's why I was kind of worried about, because I've got to review Dead or Alive Extreme 3 soon, and it looks really nice, but and again, it's got exactly the right amount of obviously what we want, but I'm feeling like the gameplay is definitely just hasn't improved.
Yeah, it has not. What do they do? They added rock climbing.
Yeah, and I'm just kind of like, I don't like. I mean, I could like Google all this. Like, it doesn't really like. I mean, it just feels like there's an extra effort of paying money for it. But yeah,
absolutely. I was thinking of actually, I don't know why I never did it, but we actually have an Ecchicast episode on Dead or Alive Extreme 3, and I was intending to make an actual like full-on written review for it because I've been playing the free-to-play version for a while now, which is pretty much the same as the full game, but you can only play as one character. You can only play as Kasumi.
Oh.
And so if you want to get all the other characters, then you have to pay money for them and all that kind of stuff. But it was essentially exactly the same game. It had all the features. You could buy all the swimsuits and everything like that, but you can only play as one girl. And so, yeah, it felt like Dead or Alive Extreme 2, but it looked in HD, HD Dead or Alive Extreme 2 with rock climbing.
See, that's why that's why I like with Schoolgirl Zombie Hunters sort of stuff, and this all like, they try to blanket us with the sexiness, but I know deep down, like, that price tag isn't 100% for everything in the game. Like, there's no way that the game's going to be good all around.
Yeah, that leaves me with a lot of doubts, Like, there's some games out there, as much as people like to, shit on, ecchi games and pervy games and all that kind of stuff, I usually like to defend them, to be like, no, Senran Kagura is pretty great, and, Criminal Girls, what I've played so far of it has been pretty good, so, you should kind of give them a chance. But then you have games like Onichambara, the first one, and the second one, and even games like Galgun that don't really have a whole lot to it aside from the story. It's like, so there are some companies that kind of rely a little bit too much on the fan service, and when they could have been using their time on actually making it withstand the test of time beyond just what they have on their chests.
Exactly, you make a valid point.
Yeah, it's not just about the boobs; it's about the bra that sustains it as well.
That is a good motto.
Yeah.
One of the last games I want to talk about, Pale Moon Crisis. Have you heard of this?
I have not. Fill me in.
Have a look at this while I give everyone the fill-in of it.
Sure.
It's basically a sort of like mansion horror side-scrolly type game. It was originally on DL site, but they've kind of taken it to... they want to take it to Steam, and I'm assuming they're going to try to... obviously dull it down a little bit.
Oh yeah, you said that this game is from DL site, and it frickin' shows, dude.
Yeah, and so they're wanting to bring it to Steam. I'm not too sure how the fuck they're gonna do that, because it's interesting, because like you go look at the DL site version, and clearly, obviously, it's just a hentai game, but they've tried to really like pull out all the... Like, I guess they've tried to pump in quality in other sections, because, again, you compare the two, and you can't really... Like, if you didn't know about the original, you probably wouldn't question it.
Do you think that's maybe due to, the Nekopara games? They have their games on Steam, and those are kind of like, not 18 plus, but then if you want to, you can put an 18 plus patch on it on your own, and then you can see all the sex scenes. Maybe they're trying to... Maybe
I
they're
think
trying to go
that's what
for
they're
that.
trying to do. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think they're gonna try to like get into that market and be like, hey, look, if you buy the game, we'll give you the free patch to go in the game.
yeah, and get all those naughty bits for
Um,
yourself.
I know it's based on the style of the game is based on I'm trying to remember that like Clockwork Tower style games where the horror with the horror monster with the giant scissors coming through and scaring you and stuff, but it's very like the moment you look at the art style and you look at everything and I say DL site game, you can instantly tell like it's downright
Yeah.
sleazy. On the DL one, there's like tentacles galore. There's fucking there's nothing to hide within this game. I mean, they're hiding it on the Steam page, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how they're going to do with it because there's a lot of people, in the comments going, why is this here? Like, this is a bit weird. Like, this is a little bit. Is this porn? Like, is this porn? I'm pretty sure you're just covering up this porn. But yeah, I'm interested to see the direction they're going to go in.
I think the game that you were talking about the dude with the giant scissors, is like a PlayStation 1 game, right? It's called Clock Tower.
Clock Tower, that's the one.
Yeah, of the clothes here, I'm looking at a video of this game, and like the clothing for the girl, even though I don't mind what she's wearing at all, it just seems very inconsistent with the location that she's at. The clothes that she's wearing looks like weird zombie apocalypse that you would be wearing like in an exterior,
Yeah.
like in a desert or something like that. Why are you in this really nice, pretty mansion wearing that? I would kind of assume what would make more sense is if you wore something like in Resident Evil, something like a Jill Valentine
And had
military.
battle damage clothing.
Yes, I was about to say that. You read my mind, good sir. Like, the more damage you take, the more, clothing gets ripped off. Learn from Samurai Kagura, dude.
Yeah,
Take notes.
You can see in the pictures too, like there's a guy in there and he's wearing full clothes. So I don't understand, like, I guess they're trying to pull people like literally day one. But I mean, it does.
Yeah.
It seems like a really weird design choice.
Yeah, the clothes that she's wearing looks like somebody modded in the clothes there in favor of something else.
Very true.
Yeah.
The one last bit of news I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you heard about this, but so we had Tokyo Game Show was just on.
Oh, dude, don't even remind me. I have the only reason for why I haven't written like 30 million articles on it is because my family come over to visit and I'm just, taking care of them. But, as soon as that's out of the way, I'm just going to be typing shit up like mad.
I figured you would be. The one story I wanted to kind of bring to light, and I thought was actually quite an interesting one, was there was a video game there. I guess it was a demo build of something where they had a mannequin of a girl.
A mannequin of a girl.
So it was a mannequin of a girl dressed up as a like a schoolgirl. And so you wore an Oculus and you basically touched the mannequin, and on the screen and in the Oculus you would see where you would touch the girl, whether you would pat them, whether you'd squeeze a breast, all that sort of stuff.
So it would actually like motion sense your hand?
It would motion sense your hand, yeah.
Okay, so I think what you're thinking about there. So yeah, it's a regular VR headset, but they probably have the Leap motion installed.
Yeah,
you know what that is?
Either that, or they had either that, or they were doing some Vive stuff, but I didn't know. Like, I didn't really look too much into it.
Yeah.
But they had this mannequin set up, and I guess the mannequin had some sort of motion sensors within it as well, and so this display the reason why I'm talking about this is because apparently after day one someone broke the display. Because they they put up on their Twitter, there was a comment saying really sorry, it's broken, and they put an out of order sign, and they reckon maybe somebody squeezed it too hard or something.
Yeah, I was about to say maybe somebody got into it a little bit too much.
Yeah, so I just thought, hey guys, Tokyo, you're on the floor. Just be careful, guys. I know you're getting a little bit too excited down there, but probably other people wanted to try it. Now, it's
But then
apparently
again,
broken.
like mannequins aren't that easy to break though. So who was using it? Like the Incredible Girl, the Incredible Girl, the Incredible Hulk. Pretty girl touch.
That's what I was thinking. Like maybe the guy was just like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna punch her in the tit."
That's my fetish.
Yes, my fetish, tit punching. But that's it for news. So usually with these podcasts, we have a topic, and the topic I wanted to bring to you tonight is, and so I try to think up different sexy topics for our Datcast. And tonight's sexy topic.
What would a burger look like if he had a full set of legs and stockings?
And I would know exactly what that would look like. And it's on the screen right now.
Bring me Photoshop immediately. I have an idea.
I wish it was that now. It's what would be your ultimate sexy video game? If you could be a developer and you could create one, what would you do?
That's a really good question. I'll think about it as this enormous airplane is passing by me. I'm sure you can hear. I'm like, yep, that's an airplane. I'm always afraid. It sounds louder every single time it happens. I feel like it's just gonna crash right on top of my apartment.
I feel like they're just flying closer and closer to you.
Yeah, and it is always when I'm recording as well. Like it's always like they're watching me. They know that I'm recording. And it's like, okay, just fucking pass that plane through there. Really making me hear it. But yeah, I don't know. I've always thought about that. I've always thought about, what would be the perfect hentai game for me? What would I want to make? Because obviously if I make something, it's something that I would personally enjoy, right? I would really have to think about it. Because, one of my favorite games out there is a game by Illusion, and it's called I'm the Hero. It's Ore ga Shujinko. And so it only features 2 girls. And it's fairly simple. There really actually isn't any gameplay at all. There's like maybe 1 or 2 dialogue choices, and then you just kind of see the sex scenes happen. But it's not. Yeah, it's really not interactive at all. And for some reason, I really, really love that game a lot. And what I realized of why I liked it so much was because that is the perfect vision for me of what I would like a hentai to be. It is this very fantastical, completely bereft of reality, no consequences, lighthearted, like this world has achieved world peace, like there's nothing bad happening ever. You can do it as many times as you want, no diseases, no pregnancies, no worrying about that stuff, just comedy and having a good time and doing it.
That sounds like the planet I want to be on.
Yeah, that sounds like a planet that if I could live inside that game, that would be absolutely the place I would want to be. And so, if I were to make a hentai game of my own, it would probably be something similar in the same vein. So first of all, the first thing that I would add in there, character customization to the nth degree. I would want to make the biggest amount, the most detailed character customization that I can.
So you want to go further than say Premium Resort, Sexy Beach Premium Resort in terms of customization?
Maybe on the same level. I wouldn't say beyond, because I wouldn't even know where to begin, with that. I mean, I actually there was a Humble Bundle recently that was selling Game Maker Pro, so I was like, I'm not planning on making a game or selling it, but I've always had thoughts, I've always had ideas for games, so let's just download it and screw around with it, right? And so that's kind of at the level where I'm at now, just basic beginner 2D prototypes. And so I wouldn't even know where to begin with customization on that level. But, just for the benefit of the doubt, in this imagination land that we're in, if I had the abilities to do that, I would probably do it on the same level as Premium Resorts. The art style would definitely be somewhere along, I'm the Hero or 3D Custom Girl 2, like very like bright-eyed, colorful anime style. Because, some people like to have it be super realistic or something. I like to have it be super bright anime cartoony, something like New Game or I'm the Hero or like Girlfriend Beta and all that kind of stuff. I like that style.
Yeah.
And so have character customization, have it be with that art style, have it be super lighthearted, super colorful, no darkness here. We have achieved world peace. Everybody is happy. There isn't a single problem in the world. Maybe it would be because the thing is I would want it to have different environments, like different situations. So I would not want it to just be stuck in a high school,
Yeah.
So maybe I could come up with an excuse that it isn't a high school, but maybe you're like in theater club or something. And so we need to we have to act and make different plays. And so we have to build different sets and you have to wear different costumes. You know where I'm getting at here?
I see where you're going.
So you have to wear you have to wear different costumes and you have to play different characters, right? So that's where more of the customization comes in. So you can make whatever character you want. You can make whatever personality you want as well. You can make like a very cool, suave Onesan kind of character. You can make a little sister kind of character. You can make a the same age as you sister kind of character, and you can make childhood friend. You can do all. I think I would like to take like the theater slash acting aesthetic to kind of give it an excuse to customize a whole bunch of different girls.
Okay.
And so I don't know, maybe 3D custom made 3D has like RPG stats and all that kind of stuff, but I don't know if that would get in the way. I would like it to be a little bit simple.
Yeah, simplified a little bit.
Yeah, obviously have VR for sure. Man, I think that would be a good place to start for me. Just find a way to have many different scenarios with many different girls. I guess a photo mode would be good. I kind of like that custom made 3D has like dance segments and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I would make it so that you have kind of like a Miku Miku dance kind of thing where you can like animate your own girls and then you can insert your own MP3s onto it and you can make them dance to whatever song you want.
Where can I put money in for the Kickstarter?
So it's patreon.com/Theater Academy H, and you will. We have some rewards. We have some T-shirts. No, I mean now that I think about it, I'm like I should probably do this, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe a story, maybe a light story. Again, it would have to be very comedy based. I don't know where I would get my voice actors. All of them will just be me with different pitches. I can speak enough. I can speak enough Japanese. Yeah, yamete oni-chan. I don't know, something like that. Just pitch it up way, 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 way higher. I don't know.
Okay.
I think something like that. Highly customizable VR theater academy thing where you are in different environments in a lighthearted way, and obviously every single one ends in people banging. And it would only be one. It would only be one protagonist. Here's one thing that I don't like is that whenever people make like a manga or a hentai or something, they're always like, "Hey, look at this beautiful, pristine, innocent girl, and now I'm going to make her do it with the fattest, most disgusting, most horrible, most sleazy piece of shit in the universe." And I'm like, "No!" Like, "No, you're breaking my fantasy. Please don't do it." And so. And then, I'm not usually the kind of guy to see, like, gangbang kind of stuff. If we're going to see sex scenes, I'd rather just have it be one guy. And if there's going to be any multiples of anything, I want it to be girls. Have it be like Horror Mate. Have you ever played Horror Mate?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Have it be like, 2P, 3P, 4P, 5P. Have it be, multiple girls with one guy and have it be a whole bunch of... Oh, one thing that would be great? Customizable sex positions. Because
see, if you can move around sex positions, it's unlimited, really.
Yeah, that would be great. Have it be like again, like in Miku Miku Dance or in 3D Custom Girl, where they just have like the T pose going on, and so you can you can start positioning them in a certain way, and then you can get like the default like gyrating animation, and then you can change the speed and stuff. What would the animation be for when you're finishing and all that? I think that would be fantastic because you always have like all of these sets of positions, right? And so you're like, okay, but you can do more with this, right? You can have the same position but like backwards. You can turn her around. That's a new one, Just thinking of stuff like that, literally turning things around on their heads, both metaphorically and literally.
Yeah,
and
because
so
that's the thing about these sort of games is they lack customers. I feel like they go 90% of the way sometimes, and the lack of customization on some, like, you just get the basic moves. You kind of want to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, and so I think being able to customize your own sex positions, or like branch off from the ones that are already there, and try and make different ones. I think that would make games like that go a long, long way.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah. So that would be my starting off point for a game, and then I would just expand from there.
Well, I love it. I love that concept.
There we go. A Hentai Theater Academy coming soon to a theater near you and your local car wash.
Your local car wash. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
See, for me,
I mean, if you want to get wet, you know what I mean.
See, for me, I've got a completely different concept.
Okay.
For me, right? And I kind of did like a light episode on this once, where we talked in our show Dat Philosophy, where I said I want to challenge the industry with something that they haven't honestly done before, and I want to make it sexy. So
Horses.
just sexy horses. What I want to do is I want to take. Okay, imagine if Des Blood Racing didn't exist at this point. But what I want to do is I want to take the concept of obviously Mario Kart, and I literally want to make like a super waifu kart style game. So it's Mario Kart style. You've got your go-karts, you've got pantsu as weapons, so you've got different types of pantsu that you've got to throw on the other kart players that land on their heads. You've obviously
throw dildos at people.
Exactly. And you've got customizable characters. You've got battle damage, so when you hit someone in a cart, you can see them flying back towards you, towards the screen, and you see like part of their clothes come off. I want award ceremonies that get too extremely sexy. Customizing carts, but also kind of balancing the gameplay with the sexiness. So then that way, I'm not just coming. Not just coming, but for the gameplay as well. Because I feel that that's a like you see games like Galgun where it's like it's a rail shooter, and even though it's unique in its own sort of style. It's
that fun runs out after a little while.
It does, and not only that, it's an easy game to make.
Oh yeah, it's pretty easy.
And I feel that I want developers to, especially the developers in these sort of, double B style places, doing these sort of sexy video games to take notes and maybe do something a little bit different. I want Super Waifu Racer. That's what I
just imagine something kind of freaking crazy. So I'm imagining like you choose your character, right? And it can be either a guy or a girl. And so you sit on top of a girl that's laying down face up with like a skateboard below her. Like she's laying down face up on a skateboard. And so how in Mario Kart you can like hold down the A button and then like if you time it just right, you can do like a super boost.
Oh,
okay, brilliant. Well, so when it goes like, dee, 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 we're saying like 3, 2, 1, go. Like during that time, you're holding down a button and you're whacking the girl off. And so if you time it just right, she will squirt out so hard that super boost and you're like in first place.
See, this is why it's dangerous for you and I to do a podcast together, because we're coming up with these extreme ideas like this.
This is too hot. Too hot for the internet.
It's too hot for YouTube. That's about saying that though. When you get a chance, and I can't show it on screen, but there is something quite similar to that. When you get a chance, and it's really hard to find, there's a porn of it's called. I'm pretty sure it's just called Fuck Grand Prix, and it's basically a bunch of Japanese girls on go-karts, but all the go-karts have different sexual torture machines on them. And they're all remote controlled on the sidelines. So there's one girl literally getting fucked in the ass, one girl literally getting fucked in the mouth, and they're all go-karts with fuck machines attached to them.
Is it like in that episode of South Park where they were trying to come up with like the ultimate transportation device, and it was like
it's exactly that, except imagine a bunch of Japanese girls doing it on go-karts. And I was like, I saw the article and I was like, I have to. It's one of those porns I've got to see before I die. And so I downloaded it and I watched and I was like, "This is I've seen this is a thing. I've seen," because it was like one of those when they announced that there was a porn that recently broke records where they said there was 500 people fucking in one room. And I was like, I've got to see that. And I turned to my girlfriend and I was like, I have to see this. Like, this is a thing. And then when I got it and I'm sitting there watching it, she was like, is this what you expected? And I was like, I don't know. It's very loud and there's a lot of stuff going on. Like
just a giant screen of beige and flesh. Oh man, am I watching a porn or am I watching like World War Z?
It was like a they got a warehouse and they basically lined the bottom of the warehouse with mattresses, and everybody was doing the same move. So, like, they would obviously have a
synchronized.
Yeah, so they have a signal, so they'd be like, okay, make out, and then they have a signal change, and so next minute they'd be fucking the girl. And I was like, this is fucking crazy. And, like, seeing a room, like a warehouse, I was like, first of all, how do they get, like, 250 each people? plus camera crew. Like they had cranes in there, camera cranes. I was like, they probably had to call up fucking Michael Bay and be like, we need the camera crane for this. We have 500 fucks. He's like, oh, please take the crane.
Sure.
Pro
we need
bono.
the script writer, we need the gaffer, we need the lighting person, we need the continuity editor here.
Exactly, and I was just like, it's one of those things. So definitely look up. I'm pretty sure it's just called Fuck Grand Prix, and it's the weirdest fucking thing you ever see. And at the same time, it's kind of fascinating to watch, and you're like, this is a thing that Japan did, and people should talk about it a little bit more.
So you were saying about your girlfriend watching this with you. How is she about this whole thing? Is she super open about it as you are? I mean, I don't think she'd be your girlfriend otherwise, but that's just me assuming.
We're sort of like, when it comes to just like general porn and stuff, like we're all cool with it. But when it comes to like really fucking weird shit, we stop what we're doing.
Yeah, that's personal preference at that point.
Yeah, and so like I'll be sitting here and I'll be reading an article and I'm like, can you come look at this? And she'll be like, okay. And I'm like, look at this. And she's like, this is a thing? And I was like, should I download it? She's like, fuck yeah, we're going to see it. And so then, like, it'll be an event. And so, like, I'll download it. I'm like, it downloaded. So she'll stop what she's doing, walk in, and we just sort of, like, it's so much different from, like, obviously watching regular porn. You're just sort of in awe.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing this together. And it's the weirdest thing because it'll be, like, a couple days later, and I was like, this I don't know if I should say this or not, but you know how, like, most couples, they'll be like, oh, we like went on our first date, or we like, we rode a bike together. Like we watched.
Yeah, we walked on
Asians
the beach.
Fucking a warehouse, like, and she'd be like, right, and I'm like, yeah, that's so coupley,
Oh, how romantic! We Netflixed and chilled like no other.
Exactly. Saying that, we are at the end of the podcast, unfortunately.
Oh, really? I feel like we have just started.
I feel like we just started, but before I get into my little spiel, did you want to have anything that you wanted to say to the Shady peeps?
I did want to say that I never actually answered your question about Valkyrie Drive this entire time. So I think the game is average. I mean, I spent all the time explaining what the game was and, what I felt about it control-wise. But I think it's an average game. I don't think it's, particularly great. It's no Samurai Kagura, definitely. But you can definitely, do way worse than this. It's made by Kenichiro Takaki. He's, the god of ecchi. He's the Samurai Kagura man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I recommend, when it comes out, rate some reviews and then pick it up. I'm going to be writing my own review of the Japanese version, and so, take that information in whatever way you want, and maybe I'll get a review code for the English one as well, and then I'll review that, now knowing what the story's about. But, yeah, that'll definitely be a thing. But yeah, anything else that I want to say to the Shady peeps is that if you guys find me in the comment section on Shade's videos, go ahead and say hi, because I've been watching I remember again when that thing happened with the guy commenting on my videos saying, have you heard of Datcast? I went to his channel and I said, because at this point, because we have our own podcast called the Ecchicast, and so I'm like, we've been thinking of getting guests on the shows. I've been trying to contact a guy from Lewd Gamer, which is a website that does a bunch of lewd stuff. I've been trying to contact, I contacted you successfully, Shades, and we've also been trying to contact Lance from Fine Game Girls, and now is about the time that I'm going to ask again, because I sent him an email, and he said, contact me in a month. And, I'll see how my schedule is at. And so a month has happened. So I'm going to send him an email again and see what happens.
Oh, was that Lance, was it?
Yeah. Lance from Fine Game Bitches.
He's an interesting man to... I always want to know how his schedule works, because he's such a punctual man. And when I worked with him first, when I did our first crossover, very professional person. But at the same time, he's got a schedule.
Yeah.
He has a schedule. And I'm like, dude, you got a FAP. You got a FAP, man.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. Hey, that's how people get the bid bucks. That's how people recognize you for being a professional in your work, no matter what it is. But yeah, I've been watching Shade's videos for a while now. At the beginning, when we wanted to have him on as a guest, and I already said this on the Ecchicast as well, where I said, this is just a guy. I'm gonna see what he's got and whatever. I'm just gonna watch maybe 5 or 10 minutes of his stuff, and then I'll get to work. That didn't happen. I ended up marathoning 3 hours of his videos. I've pretty much seen the entire Dad Game series, and before we recorded this, I was watching the Death Blood Racing video, and I've seen like the shorts, I've seen all the Samurai Kagura videos and all that, and so I have officially turned into a fan. And so if I wasn't so busy working on my own stuff and my own channel and my own website and my own Patreon, I'd probably be watching even more of that. But yeah, I go ahead and I comment on there sometimes. So if you see me, say hi, visit the channel. I do a bunch of video game stuff as well. The older episodes of the Ecchicast are posted on the YouTube channel as well, but you can stay current by going on iTunes. That's Ecchicast on iTunes. I have a Facebook page that is Ecchicast on Facebook. And, just go to the YouTube channel, and from there you'll be able to go everywhere else, because on the description of every single one of my videos, I have my Twitter, my Tumblr, my Patreon, my Twitch, my everything. So just, look me up on Shade's videos where I'm usually commenting, and then from the channel, you'll be able to go everywhere.
Awesome. I love the fact that you've become a fan as well. I've been listening to your podcast, actually. I've been downloading them on my... so I download them through iTunes, but I put them on my phone. Okay, because that's the way I roll. And I've been listening to them mainly when I'm doing like walking or something, or when I'm editing. It's the same sort of thing when I'm listening to some of the other podcasts I listen to, like Retsupre and stuff, and Sleepycast. And you guys do some fine work over there too. And I wish we all had more time to work together.
Yeah, precisely. I think it's super duper fun to kind of just drop in and talk about pervy stuff.
Exactly, because it kind of feels like even though we're working, we're kind of also not working.
Yeah, because we're like constantly looking at our own shit on Twitter.
Exactly, yeah. Saying that, you guys, if you want to, keep up to date with Ecchicast, I'll put all the links on the screen. You see all the links, you'll see all the places you want to go. You want to support Dat Game, hit us up on Patreon. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos, because we got videos, like I said, every 3 days there's a video. So I mean, like, just as you get dry, there's a fucking storm coming. Okay, so you don't get the umbrella, just get moist and wet. Okay, because there's shit coming, guys. There's shit. Calm down, there's shit coming. Not
coming
like,
in hard, dry, no lube. Exactly.
Going in dry, bite the pillow. That might be my new motto, actually. Dat Game, going in dry, bite the pillow. I like that, actually.
It's just a white shirt, and then it has some black text that says #bite the pillow.
#bite the pillow. I love it. But yeah, guys, you definitely stay tuned for more videos on our end. We're going to continue doing the podcast. UK might be away a little while longer while she's doing her... I can't really say, but it is research for something, or it could be wink research. But we got more guests coming. I've organized a few more guests. You will hear them on the podcast. I mean, you're going to have way more guests coming, and you're also going to have them as guests on the podcast. Exactly, because that's how I get them on the podcast. Mm-hmm. That's what you got me into the podcast. I did, and I still haven't washed my hands, and I regret it because I've touched the table now, and it's just sticky. It's expanding. So, with that being said, we'll see you guys next time on Datcast. Bye.